Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this, the 17th, Friday the 17th of September 2021. Thank you for tuning in. I did a show on my other channel, The Delta Report, link in the description, called The Kraken. And what the Kraken is it's a giant sea monster like Godzilla, more powerful than Godzilla. It's deflation. It was a theoretical, fictional exercise on just what exactly Godzilla could do to the financial system and how he could be unleashed. It's probably worth a watch. It's kind of fun to listen to. But in real life here, we got a big corporation. Let's turn the charts on right here and take a look. Called Evergrande Corporation in China. Now, first reports I was hearing about this corporation, they were saying it's $300 billion US. Uh, then I heard reports of $305 billion US. Now I'm hearing reports of US $410 billion in liabilities. So just how big are they? Well, they got 1.5 million properties in China right now, and they're offering those at a tremendous discount to buyers. What's that going to do to other property managers in China that have to sell property? It could start slicing open the Chinese real estate market into a crash. But that's not all. Uh, this money that they owe the banking system, I think it's 150 banks, uh, are sharing these liabilities of $410 billion. Uh, that's a lot of banks. Of course, some banks would have a bigger liability, and some banks would have a larger liability, depending on how much money that they lent Evergrande. But 410 billion is an enormous amount of money. It's almost $500 billion. And so we've got pictures coming in from China. Here's a lady, and she's lost all of her money to Evergrande. She says they've cheated me out of all of my money. And the people are obviously upset. Enraged investors are holding the management of this corporation in company offices, and I guess they won't let them out. It says pissed off retail investors have gone from storming the company's headquarters to taking management hostage. We know so far as 70,000 retail investors forked over vast sums of money, in some cases their entire life savings, after the country's second largest too-big-to-fail property developer wooed them and promised them 10% plus annual returns on their money. And now I guess this property company is going under, and it's causing a big stir in China. You think this can't spread through the financial system? It can. I think Beijing is probably going to have to restructure these loans to keep the collateral damage from spreading through the system. So we are relying upon Beijing to handle this situation, not let it get out of control, basically. And we're also relying upon Washington right now to handle the situation of the debt ceiling and not let it get out of control. So we got two situations here that could spiral out of control. I'm going to talk a little bit about the debt ceiling. Everybody assumes, hey, you know what? They'll pass the debt ceiling at the last minute like they always do. Well, let me tell you guys a little story. I knew a guy down in Florida about probably 40 years ago when I was living down there. And he had this little airplane that he bought. It was called an ultralight airplane. It was made out of aluminum pipes and stuff like that. Had a little engine on the back and everything, and it was a sporty little airplane. Nice little airplane. So he used to like to take chances. He was an adrenaline thing, or a lot of guys do that. They like to push it right to the edge. So you take that little airplane, and he would go heading toward the ground with it, and then pull up at the last minute on the stick, and he'd fly up and down and see how close he could come. So one day he was doing that, and he always assumed the airplane would go down to the ground. He pulls back on the stick, and up she goes again. And this is great fun. One day he was flying toward the ground and he went to pull back on the stick and a cable snapped. A pin come out or whatever. A cotter pin might have come out or whatever, you know. And the plane didn't go up. It went straight into the ground. This is the way with the Fed right now. They're toying with this. They're seeing how close to the edge they can get. Not the Fed, but the debt ceiling. They're toying with it. They're seeing how close they can get to the edge. And everybody out there says, well, they always pull up at the last minute, just like he pulled up on the airplane at the last minute. But toying with it like this, taking it right to the edge, Janet Yellen's already told them what would happen, how it'd be catastrophic to the world's financial system. Don't listen, guys out there. I'm telling you guys, don't always assume these things are going to work out right and they're going to be able to kick the can down the road. One of these days, the can's going to drop off the cliff. That's going to be it. It's going to be a situation. Let's just call it a situation within the world's financial system that will not go resolved. They won't be able to resolve it. And as over leveraged as this financial system is, I hate to tell you what could happen. Catastrophic is the only word I can use to describe it. And so this is another situation, yet another situation that could spin out of control here, depending on what Beijing does. And a big question mark in my mind is will Beijing handle this? I think they probably will, but I'm not sure. And how would they handle it? They would restructure the loans from this Evergrande corporation, you know, and be able to push it off, kind of like what they did with Greece. That's what they did with Greece. They kept restructuring loans. Heck, they'd even give them the money to pay the interest and pay the loan. So we're giving you a little bit bigger loan so that you can pay off your old loan, and we can keep this system running a little bit longer, sort of a deal. Let's take a look at gold today and see what it's doing. 1753. It's down 40 cents on the day. Gold and silver have been doing awful bad lately, you know. Creating buying opportunities for some of you guys, but other guys who are holders, you're like, oh my God, when's this going to end, you know? This gold and silver price manipulation to the downside using these futures contracts. Okay, let's see what silver's doing today. Silver is down 40 cents. That's a big move down for silver. Silver, this looks sick. And, you know, the small-time investor out there, mom and pops that have bought into gold and silver and stuff, you got to have nerves of steel. And you got to hang on until the bitter end, until finally this thing breaks and we're going to see the price move to the upside. We could have a deflationary episode where everything in the world starts to drop in price, but they come in and they have to rescue the system with money. The answer is money, money, money. It's the only real tool they have is to just print and keep on printing. And right now they stopped printing and they're letting the deflation the deflation could spiral out of control really fast. And then what are they going to have to do? Then they're going to be punished by having to print a whole bunch more. This is a never-ending wash, rinse, repeat. But gold and silver have not been the recipients because of this paper manipulation, which seems like it'll never end, but when it ends, it's going to end suddenly. I'm starting to sound like a broken record on this because they are so powerful at being able to use these futures contracts to affect the price of this market. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of them. They're crooks. Cryptocurrencies today. What we're looking at is 2123 billions. It's moved down a little bit. Was up higher, you know, 47,502 for Bitcoin, but it's holding pretty good, really, considering the instability in the system. This Evergrande is putting the negative pall on the system. Even right now, and it's prices are tending to fold down on everything today except for the dollar. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones today. It's off 192 points, 34,558. We're going to move on right now. We're going to take a look at crude oil. It's down $1.13 at 71.48. That's not a big surprise, though, to see crude moving down. Move index today, and it's pretty much flat at 53.70. Now we're going to move on to bonds and rates, and we're seeing yields are rising today. U.S. 10 years up 4.6 basis points at 1.37, and the U.S. 30 years up 3.6 basis points at 1.91. So the bond yields are creeping up. Now because there's an inverse relationship with bonds, that means bonds are falling too. Everything's falling today except for the dollar. So let's take a look at the almighty dollar, and it's up today, and it's at 93.13 today. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. And you guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.